For multiplying and dividing, we're going to go ahead and look at this table. We can try and look for a pattern. 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 0 is 0. Take a look over here at these products. Each of these is going down by 3, which tells me if I'm starting at 0 and going down 3, I'm going to end up at negative 3. If I'm going down by 3 more, I'm going to end up at negative 6, and down by 3 more is going to be negative 9. So what I can see is that in here, each product decreases by 3, and this is the pattern rule. So if we rewrite it as an addition rule, we say, instead of decreasing by 3, we say we're going to add negative 3. So we think about multiplication as addition of groups. Multiplying 3 groups of negative 1 is adding the same as 3 groups of negative 1. So 3 times negative 1 is just like negative 1 plus negative 1 plus negative 1 plus negative 1, which gives you negative 3. Multiplying 3 groups of negative 2 is the same as adding them. It's going to give you negative 6. That's kind of the explanation for why we do things. If you look at this same table here, you're going to see another option of what could happen. Look at these. These are actually increasing by 3 every time. So in this case, we're going to end up with 3, 6, and 9 following the pattern of the table. Here's the rules though, and this is what you need to know. If you multiply or divide, the rules are the same. If they both have the same sign, your answer is always positive. If they have different signs, your answer is always negative. So it's pretty straightforward. Different signs, answers negative, and multiply. For this one, we have a 3-step process here. So we have negative 12 times negative 6, which gives me a positive, and we're multiplying that by a negative, which tells me my final answer would be a negative. 12 times 6 is 72, times 1 is still 72. In here, these two are going to give me a negative, times another negative, so my answer is going to be a positive. 11 times 5 is 55, times 2 is 110. Here, these guys give me a negative, times a negative, times a negative. Negative times a negative is a positive, times a negative. My final answer is negative. You can also look, if it's an odd number of negatives and you're multiplying, you're going to end up with a negative answer. If it's even, you'll actually end up with a positive answer, like we saw up here in example 3. 2 times 7 is 14. I'm also going to use the associative property here and put those two together, times 6. 6 times 14 is going to give me 84, and I get negative 84. These are division. We just show it with a fraction bar instead now, so that's not exactly what you're used to seeing, but that's how we're going to write it. Signs are different. You get a negative 5. This one, this negative, we're going to pretend it moves up here with the 15. So we have a negative divided by a negative gives us a positive, so that's a 5. Here we have 49 divided by negative 7. What that's going to do is give us different signs, so a negative 7. And down here, this negative is sitting out front. So here's the way you can look at this. You can either put the negative up top with the 18, or you can put it down at the bottom with the 6. Either way, you only have one negative in your problem. Your answer is going to be negative, and your answer is going to be 3.